let's talk about what to check before you apply and sign a contract. Before you make any commitments, there are a few key areas to tick off. Believe me, these are really important. So, these are internet reception and network speed, conditions of the property, visible signs of mold, hot water system, fly screen, heating and cooling options. Internet and network speed. This is super important nowadays. And the speed here is very much behind Asia or Europe. I would call it snail speed. The differences among suburbs can be significant. Bytes can crawl, mobile network reception can be patchy. With the national broadband network, where it is installed, there is some improvement. It's worth checking what is available at the address of the desired property. The easiest way to check is when you are inspecting the property. The largest and the most reliable provider is Telstra. However, their prices are the highest. Most other providers rent the network from Telstra. When you arrive in Australia, and reliable and strong internet connection is important for you, it is worth paying a bit higher at the beginning, for example with Telstra, and then switch later to another provider who has good quality connection at the rental property. The conditions of the property, visible signs of mold. It is not that easy to check what is hiding underneath the carpet. Most rental units have carpet because it's a cheap option to change for the landlord if it gets damaged or too worn. Most landlords want to optimize costs and will only do some cosmetic or bigger renovation if it is absolutely necessary. Properties that are close to water have higher humidity. On top of this, if ventilation is poor, this is a perfect breeding ground for mold. If you see visible signs of mold in the property during the inspection, stay away. Do not rent it. It is not common knowledge that the carpet is not fixed to the floor with adhesive. There is a narrow, smooth edge around the perimeter of the room, and the carpet is stapled to this area. If you go to one of the corners, you may be able to lift up a piece of the carpet and check what's underneath. It is also suspicious if you see scented candles burning during the inspection. They usually use them to disguise the bad smell, for example, mold. Hot water system. Ask the agent and check the hot water system. It is possible that the whole block of units have a central system, or there is a separate hot water system for each unit. If it's gas, that is better than the electric system as it provides you with continuous hot water supply. It will never run out. If it is electric and there is a smaller heater, for example 50 liters, and there are 2 or 3 people living together, then you will feel the cold on your skin. Hot water will run out very quickly. If one person has a shower, the second one may need to wait 20 or 30 minutes before there is enough hot water again for another shower. Fly screen. Many times it is forgotten, but fly screens have many benefits. They not only keep the flies and mosquitoes out, but also help block the inroad of unwanted pests, insects, into the home. When you move in and there is no fly screen, you will soon want one. The landlord may not agree to install anything at his or her cost. In this case, you can either pay for installation, if the landlord permits, or you do it yourself, which is lower cost, and of course, if the landlord permits. Heating and cooling options. Check if the place has any heating or cooling options. The best one is ducted air conditioning. Great for steady, warm inside temperature in winter and cooling the whole place in summer. This is usually very rare in rental properties. Mostly you can find them in high-end apartments or houses. If you're sensitive to hot and cold temperatures, don't rent a property without air conditioning. If you do not have one, the difference in temperature in winter between in and out is usually around 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. We made a mistake during our first year and rented an apartment without any heating and cooling options. We purchased a column oil heater. This is absolute waste of money. It is very slow and you cannot feel the heat, plus adds up to your electricity costs. You can buy a fan heater, but you usually feel the warmth if you are sitting next to it only. The rest of the apartment remains cold. You can also get a gas heater. This is more efficient. However, you need to have the connection already installed inside the unit to be able to operate one. What to check after moving in? Immediately after you receive the keys, it is your responsibility to check the property again and take photos, videos, and document any conditional issues you may notice. You will receive a condition report from the agent. Make sure that you check every surface, item, smoke alarm, switches, with as many details as possible. You need to return your condition report to the agent within a week. If you document everything properly, it cannot happen that they will dispute it later when you move out. They cannot blame you for the stain on the carpet if it was there already when you moved in. In most of the cases, you will find everything in order. Check cleanliness as well. The second apartment we rented was not cleaned properly. The kitchen splashback was oily and the surfaces were sticky. If you find anything that you think is not clean, talk to the agent immediately. Do not wait. They need to rectify it. If you discover mold short after you moved in, this should be reported and rectified as soon as possible. If you notice mold underneath the carpet, report it to the agent immediately because it is very unhealthy. You need to pay attention that you cannot drill holes and alter anything to your liking in the rental. You can run into issues if you want to hang a picture on the wall. You need to ask permission for almost everything from the agent. If you ask, you usually get it. And they will also tell you that you need to restore everything to its original condition when you move out. If you drilled holes, you need to repair them, cover up, remove, and paint the surface that it becomes unnoticeable. A popular product for renters is 3M Command Hook. It comes in multiple sizes and weights. You can remove them without marks. Another option is to insert a thin nail into the cornice that runs below the ceiling, and you use transparent fishing line to hang the pictures to. When you move out, you simply pull out the nail and repair the cornice with some paint. Additional conditions worth mentioning. If your application has been accepted and you have signed a contract, usually for a minimum of 6 months, you can celebrate. The rule is that you need to fill in your contract period. If you terminate your contract before it expires, in general, you need to pay 4 to 6 weeks rent from the day when you moved out. This is to compensate the landlord for the empty weeks. Another solution can be to find someone who can take over your contract. If the agency deems the person reliable, and he or she moves in immediately after you moved out, you will not need to pay additional rent. It is common that before your contract expires, the agency will be in touch with you and they will ask if you want to extend your stay and sign another 6 or 12 months. Many people do not sign the contract again, but stay in the unit without having a contract. If you want to stay, let the agency know. In this case, you are not tied into another 12-month contract and you can stay. The advantage of no contract is that when you want to move out, you only need to give 3 weeks notice. You can do this anytime because you do not have a fixed contract. It is more flexible for you. In case your initial contract expires and you would not like to stay any longer, let the agency know. They will advertise the unit again. They will inform you what time they will show the unit to prospective future tenants. They expect that you are not at home when the unit is open for inspection and that you tidy up before an open home. This is quite inconvenient for the existing tenant. Open homes are usually scheduled twice per week, usually on Wednesday and Saturday, and you need to tolerate this until you move out. Another possibility is that the landlord wants to sell the apartment. They will inform you before your contract expires, if you are still in the initial contract period, if this is the case. They will show the place twice per week to potential buyers. It is possible that the new owner purchases the property as an investment and they are happy for you to stay there. This is quite convenient for the new landlord as they save time finding a new tenant. You have 50% chance that the owner wants to move in and you will need to leave the property. They will notify you usually 30 days before, if this happens. This is exactly what happened to us in our first rental unit. They informed us that they would sell the property and they would organize an open home twice a week. As it was quite inconvenient for us as tenants, because you do not know exactly how long it takes to sell. It could be 6 or 8 or more weeks. We decided to find another place right away. We didn't want to wait to find out if the new owner wanted to move in or it was an investment property. You can also find a temporary accommodation, Airbnb, holiday park, serviced apartment. We were lucky and found a better place and a nicer place in 2 weeks. Even if you hate the open homes as a tenant, it is important that you cooperate with the agency because you need them as a reference for your next rental. Try to stay nice, even if it's hard. Renegotiating your rent. Renting in Australia is quite expensive. After your initial contract period is over, usually after 12 months, the agency will approach you with a rental increase letter. We rented for 8 years and this happened almost every year around the anniversary date. We had never accepted the amount of increase and always negotiated it down. For example, if you receive a $30 per week increase, don't accept it right away. If you are already paying fair market value rent and not below market, then you have all the rights to negotiate what increase you are willing to accept. If you are a good tenant, they would not like you to leave. Research similar property rental prices in the neighborhood, compare it to your rent, and highlight your strengths as a tenant to the agency. Our tactic was to accept 50% of the increase. In case of $30 per week, we accepted $15 per week. Sometimes prices are falling due to economic circumstances, when the demand is lower than supply. You should always try to negotiate. Summary. We wanted to give you a brief overview of how to find temporary, then permanent accommodation in your chosen location. Here are the key points in a nutshell. You will need Australian references to find permanent rental. If you haven't rented before, don't worry. Ask anyone, your boss, your HR manager, your friend, or someone who may know you even just a little to give you references. Shared accommodation could be a budget-saving option for a while. Room rentals and granny flats are advertised on Gumtree and social media. Remember important boxes to tick before you sign a permanent contract: internet, hot water system, heating and cooling, and fly screen. Don't forget to check everything thoroughly after you moved in. Let the agent know on the condition report, in writing, if something is different or not working properly. It is possible to renegotiate your rent and save. Don't worry if it's a lot to digest in one go. Just take it easy, step by step. Use the checklist. It will guide you to tick the right boxes. Shared accommodation is not a bad option if you are on a tight budget, and if you can time your arrival in winter months, you may even save more money. Let me finish with a personal story. When we arrived, we had 2 weeks to find accommodation. It was super tight and I was super nervous. We dressed up to impress the agent all the time, and also we made sure that we chatted with him or her at least for 5 minutes, that they remembered us. It was very important to stand out from the crowd. 2 weeks in a nutshell: we inspected 25 units, we applied for 4, and 2 of our applications were accepted. This was a very good result. We were very happy because we could choose between 2 apartments. Finally, we took a beachside one, which was amazing. Again, accommodation and rental hunting requires preparation, and also it takes time. Be patient and your hard work will pay off. Good luck with the hunting. See you in the next chapter. Have a good one.